Wall. You are looking at wallpaper, not antique wallpaper in a museum case, not something behind glass. The wallpaper that was in nurseries, in bedrooms, in the rooms where children slept 10 hours a night with the windows shut. It was green, it was beautiful, and by the middle of the 19th century, it was releasing poison into the air of hundreds of thousands of British homes. The families inside had no idea. Today, wallpaper is decoration, a style choice, something you argue about during renovation and then forget about for a decade. We assume it has always been harmless: paper, paste, pigment, background noise. But for nearly a century, the most fashionable color in the Western world was made from arsenic. And the wallpaper industry knew it. Before the 1770s, vivid green was one of the hardest colors to produce. Natural green dyes faded, they turned muddy, they cost fortunes. Wealthy Europeans craved green. It suggested nature, vitality, taste. But achieving a stable, brilliant green on fabric or paper remained elusive. Then, in 1775, a Swedish chemist named Carl Wilhelm Scheele mixed sodium arsenite with copper sulfate. The result was extraordinary, a luminous, rich green unlike anything the market had seen. Stable, cheap to produce, beautiful on paper, fabric, even children's toys. They called it Scheele's green. By the early 1800s, wallpaper manufacturers across Europe adopted arsenic-based greens enthusiastically. Scheele's green and its more intense successor, Paris green, became the dominant pigments for fashionable interiors. The timing was perfect. The Industrial Revolution made wallpaper affordable for the middle class. Suddenly, millions of households could decorate like the wealthy. And the color they wanted most, the color that symbolized taste, nature, refinement, was green. By the 1860s, British factories alone were producing an estimated hundreds of millions of square feet of arsenic-laced wallpaper every single year. It hung in drawing rooms, dining rooms, hallways, and nurseries. Here is where the story turns. In damp conditions, and Victorian British homes were almost always damp, a common household mold began to grow behind the wallpaper. The species Scopulariopsis brevicalis fed on the paste and the paper. As it digested the arsenic compounds in the pigment, it released a gas, a volatile arsenic compound that would later be called trimethylarsine. It was invisible, nearly odorless, sometimes carrying only a faint garlic-like scent that most people ignored. It seeped into the room, slowly, continuously, every night. The symptoms were cruel in their subtlety. Headaches, nausea, skin lesions, fatigue that would not lift, peripheral numbness. Doctors treated patients for chronic illness, for weak constitution, for melancholy. Children were most vulnerable. Their small bodies absorbed the toxin fastest. Physicians in the 1860s documented multiple cases of children wasting and dying in rooms with green wallpaper, only to recover if they were moved, or to be replaced by the next child in the same room. Dr. Thomas Orton published case after case. The Lancet ran warnings. A few chemists tested wallpaper samples and found arsenic levels that shocked them. And still the paper sold. The wallpaper industry resisted the evidence for decades. Manufacturers argued the arsenic was bound in the pigment and therefore safe. Some claimed critics were hysterical. Others pointed out that not everyone in a papered room fell ill, ignoring that dampness, ventilation, and individual tolerance varied enormously. William Morris, the most celebrated designer of the arts and crafts movement, whose patterns remain iconic today, produced wallpapers containing arsenic pigments. His family held shares in Devon Great Consols, one of the largest arsenic mines in the world. When confronted, Morris reportedly dismissed the health concerns. He was not alone. The economic incentive was enormous. It took no single law to end it, no dramatic ban. Instead, slow public pressure, continued medical reporting, and the eventual availability of synthetic alternatives gradually pushed arsenic wallpapers off the market by the 1890s. The color green did not disappear. The poison did, quietly, as if the industry hoped no one would remember. Today, pigment safety is regulated. Modern wallpaper is inert, but for roughly 80 years, the most popular wall covering in the English-speaking world was a slow-release poison delivery system, sold as luxury, hung in the rooms of sleeping children, and defended by an industry that understood the chemistry and chose profit over precaution. No one was prosecuted, no reparations were paid. The death toll was never calculated because no one was counting. The next time you notice wallpaper, in a hallway, a restaurant, an old house, consider this. For most of its commercial history, wallpaper was not passive decoration. It was the most intimate environmental hazard in the home, inches from your face, every night, for years. And the only reason you do not think of it that way is because the people who made it ensured you would forget.